become playoff time.
All right, well, let's get into Donovan Mitchell. On to point number 2. As I mentioned, a guy that many thought would have a nice NBA career. No one saw the start of his NBA career being this good. It's like they didn't miss a beat without Gordon Hayward. So versatile. How much better can Donovan Mitchell get this in his second season?
Well, you can always get better. What did he average? 20 points, I think, last year. You can always get better, especially as a point guard in this league. And I think the one thing I'll be looking for when you start talking about this young sensation in Mitchell is whether or not he understands when to go and when to slow. I don't think as a point guard you can play at the same speed, if you would. You got to slow down. There are times in the game where I think his shot selection you can question sometimes, even though he makes a lot of threes, a lot of long shots. I just think once he slows down a tad, he's going to be a lot better getting other people involved. And, you know, when you involve other people with the talent that he has offensively, you can get yours anytime.
And I think, Harp, you brought up a great question. And the question I would ask is, he looked fantastic when Rubio went down as a point guard. What does Coach Quinn Snyder do, Jared, when you have Rubio on him? Not that he played bad. It just seemed like the Utah Jazz played faster and played a little bit more efficient and better with a Donovan Mitchell at the point guard position. Next for me is playing without the basketball for him, being more efficient, knocking down shots. And I think he's great at the cup. And I think he's pretty good at the three-point line, and he can get better. That mid-range, those floaters, and being able to come off screen and rolls. Harp was so good at this. Is Harp coming to score? Is he coming to drive? Is he coming to dish? As a young guy, he's going to get better because when he was a rookie, I did the same thing. I turned that corner, Harp. I am going so fast. And then now the defense is saying, hey, I have one thing to do. He's driving it. Once he gets that pace of the game and that rhythm, being able to find guys and make the defense respect when he's coming off that pick and roll, I think he's going to get much better.
The great thing about him, though, he has an uncanny ability to finish when he gets in the paint. He's not afraid of size. The guy can shoot it from 3, of course. He can catch and knock down 3-pointers. But I think that's not his biggest strength. His biggest strength is getting all the way to the rim and really clever. There you see a nice crossover and finish there during the playoffs. But this guy, the sky's the limit for how great he can be.
He competes. For a young guy, respect all these guys that are all-stars. But when it starts to jump ball, he goes out and competes against everybody, and he doesn't take any prisoners.
Let me ask you, both of you, though, who have had to play, you obviously the point guard, many of you played the point throughout your NBA career. If he is playing that position, we know how good the defense is around him, but can he guard the opponent? So many all-star, future Hall of Fame point guards coming at him night in, night out.
You know, that takes a lot out of you, and Derek knows that much better than me because what he did at the defensive end, and also to be that #1 scorer for them. I would love to see him off the basketball. I don't say he's very good with it, but I think that it will help him, his load, Derek, in my opinion. And also, you got to incorporate some kind of way. You have Rubio on your team. I think for him he can be a lockdown defender. He has athleticism, he has size, he has the girth for a 2-guard position, and he's athletic. But I think for him it's hard. I went through it. Just trying to get through screens, Harper, much as they run pick and roll, and you keep getting hit with them big guys, it takes a lot out of you on the offensive end.
Lockdown, I think, is a stretch, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know if he's going to ever be a lockdown defender, but the guy can certainly defend. And being in the Western Conference, you're going to be forced to play defense. You can't take the defensive end off anywhere in the Western Conference. You're playing against the best point guards in the league in the Western Conference.
Stay between me and Harp on this one so he doesn't hit me on this one.
Harp's not going to hit you, man. Those were the old days.
I believe it's pretty safe to say in 2018, 2019, defense doesn't necessarily win championships. You got to be able to score in this league. We know how good the Jazz are defensively. Second best defensive rating, tied with the Spurs for fewest points per game allowed. Defensively, they're really good. Offensively, middle of the pack. 15th offensive rating, 19th points per game. Does this Jazz team rely, as we go to point 3, too much on their defense? Do they have enough offense to become an elite team?
You know, I thought Quinn Snyder did a good job. I think if you look at it, they weren't an offensive team. They couldn't get up and down. They didn't have the type of pace. So he had these guys buy in that if we're going to win games, it's going to be defensively. And so they got to the playoffs. They got to the second round. I think they're going to have to win games different defensively. I love Favors. I love Gobert. I don't like them both on the court at the same time, the way the league is going to shooting threes and high pick and rolls. So I would love to see them play a little bit smaller, maybe Ingles at the 4, maybe have another guy come in and have Favors, whether he's starting, probably Gobert starting, for those guys to get a little bit more stretch and space because they're playing a little bit smaller.
Jared, if they're going to be better offensively, they're going to have to get production off of their bench. I think that's the one thing that'll make them, that'll push them to 110 points a game opposed to 104, which they averaged last year. But I think people underrate the value of guys coming in, understanding their role, and playing their role. If they're an offensive guy, you come in, you get buckets. If you're a defensive guy, you come in and play your role there. You can create offense that way as well.
Can they play faster, Harp, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so. Rubio likes to push it. I mean, he's
Can they
not
play
Donovan
faster
Mitchell.
with Favors and Gobert?
No, I think they can.
Okay.
I really do, because you have two guards out on the floor in Rubio and Donovan that like to go.
I love Ingles.
Yeah,
but I think I can outrun Ingles right now.
They like to go. And he's running.
Can we set that up, first of all?
Listen,
I got you on Ingles.
He's running to that three-point line, though,
Yes.
where he shot a very high three-point
I love Ingles.
percentage.
I'm talking about as far as foot speed, though.
He doesn't have to run. He has to shoot and make shots. That's what his responsibility is.
Drafting, they're very deep in the backcourt. But drafting Grayson Allen, I don't know how much playing time he gets, but when he gets on the court, how much of a punch can he give him?
You know, because the kid can shoot the basketball, and you love Grayson Allen. Anytime you can stretch the floor, and I love him. He's always been a competitor, a little feisty, and then you can have him a guy that shoots from deep. That's why I know Donovan Mitchell is their best player, in my opinion, but the most important until they get somebody else is Joe Ingles. They don't have enough guys that can stretch the floor and make plays other than at the rim. Rubio at the rim, Burks at the rim. You got to have some guys that can catch, knock down a three.
Right.
If they run you off the line, can you make the next play? And that's why I think Ingles did a fantastic job for them last year.
You know, Steve, you know this. Where you're drafted, what team drafts you for your ability is really important. And I think the fact that he got drafted by the Jazz, it's going to bode well for him. I think that's the perfect spot for a guy like Allen. He plays with an edge. As long as he's not tripping people and doing those having those kind of things going on, I think he's going to be a solid pro. I really do.
Be interesting to see him take on the Golden State Warriors, right? The team that leads the league in technical fouls every year.
Yeah, you know.
It gets chippy out there, man. It's just the way it goes.
Hey, listen, you got a few technical fouls in your day.
I certainly did.
We've got plenty more to come. These guys are going to go on the court and show you how some adjustments to league rules may impact and ultimately help out Donovan Mitchell, and he's going to avoid that sophomore slump and become a sophomore sensation.
If you haven't seen him play, he's an excitement. He makes everything look easy. Donovan Mitchell from the backside with a rejection. This is a three. Again, Mitchell drive and scoop it home. What a night it's been for Donovan Mitchell. Playoffs career high, 37 points.
In fact, Donovan Mitchell, the 12th leading scorer in all of the NBA during the playoffs. On to point number 5 here with the Jazz projected depth chart, as we talked about in the first segment, relatively unchanged from last year. But when we look at this and you know, we think about maybe being aggressive during the season, Dennis Lindsey, is there something that you think the general manager of the Jazz may try and still yet acquire?
Well, I think when I'm looking at that roster right now, I still think you need spacing. And when you have spacing, you have guys that can knock down shots. So I think that's the one thing they need, Harp. Also, I think they got to find a way to get some easier baskets, whether that's in transition or at the free throw line, some kind of way to so the offense won't be just hard every trip down.
Well, shooting. Even though they shot 36% from the field, from the three-point line last year, I think you got to have guys that can catch and shoot the basketball. They have a presence on the inside in Gobert, and with him being in there, it should open things up for some more easy opportunities, to your point, around the perimeter, in my opinion.
Guys, one thing we're going to probably see a lot during the preseason and certainly in the early parts of the season is new points of emphasis this year for the officials is about freedom of movement. The NBA wants a more flowing game, right? Free-flowing game. And so that has to do with the ball handler, as we've seen over the years, Derek Harper rule, as well as off the ball too, the clutching, the grabbing, allowing the offensive player to go from point A to point B without being impeded. So on one hand, we think about the Jazz defense, maybe that hurts them, but offensively, that may help Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, it is. And I would say, let's show a little example. You go out there, Jared, as the point guard.
Obviously.
Back in the day, we used to have these plays, Harper, as you know, you come off.
Floppy up, floppy
And first
down.
of all, offensively, if Derek Harper is guarding me on the offensive end, and he's not allowed to clutch me, now Harper has to just basically.
Or even stay close to
him. He has to react to what I'm doing, whether I go here or not. It's a reaction. So with Donovan Mitchell, as good as he is, and if he can get off quickly and you throw this bounce pass right here, I think because of now the rules right now, Harp, he can swing through, take a shot.
Right.
But when we look at on the defensive end what they used to do,
right. You used
let's
to
go
ground.
back down
we
here.
go back down here.
Let's go back down here.
And you were talking about a little push off and getting away from the defense. I could lock when I was in the league and when we were in the league. I could lock in here and basically force you one way. I wouldn't give you this way and that way. I would get up on you and kind of force you this way.
And all
you
this
played
is
against
not
Orlando
happening.
Black, one of the best at this, freeing himself off of physical play.
Yes.
Right. You push off, you get to where you want to get, and you knock down easy shots coming off the down screens.
And I think, obviously, now when you start to look, Jared, there's a lot of pick and rolls, high pick and rolls. They use that a lot. You're going to be my guy setting the pick.
Okay.
So freedom of movement. Derek Harper is guarding me, a fantastic defender. But obviously, I give a little bit of advantage because he can't put his hands on me right now, whether it's the hand check or here. And back in the day, me and Harper was talking about it often.
Yeah.
I never pretty much was set up like this. Everything was right here.
Right.
So now, Derek, he'll talk about the defensive standpoint, but if I'm talking about the offense, if I have Harp right here, I can go left.
Right.
I can go right easier.
Right.
But now,
Good screen, Jared.
whoa. Okay, Jared.
That's good.
Okay,
That's
Jared.
good. That's
Foul, but that was okay, Jared.
No, this is 90s foul. I thought.
That's exactly right. Right?
Let's
You
talk
could set
about
hard
now,
fouls.
Derek, on the defensive end.
Well, like you just talked about, Smitty, I'm not allowed to touch you. So you can face up, you can go left, you can go away from the screen, you can go to the screen. In the past, I would want to get up on him and fight my way over the top of a screen, knowing that I'm going to get a little show after Donovan comes off the screen. You're going to show, the big is going to show. But if I could put my hand here
You see that?
and guide him
That wasn't
somewhere.
just a hand, though, Jared. That was more than a hand. But also, look at the difference. Before, I'm here.
Right, and I'm back here.
Right.
Now,
I'm more
he's
apt,
into me.
I'm more apt to run right into the screen, being off of the offensive player, opposed to being up and in him, is what Coach Riley used to talk about. Get up in him, and you can kind of control. You set the screen.
And look what I changed now. I'm here, Hart.
Right.
Right.
And that puts the defense at an advantage.
Thank you for not running into me.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that, Jerry.
Appreciate that.
I like you. You're a good guy.
You get Hart. You didn't like Harper something? You tried to hit Hart pretty hard.
Grew up a Net fan across the river.
It's okay.
Problems
All
with Harp,
good.
in the 90s. We got plenty more to go on our Utah Jazz team preview.
Why don't you try to handle it, Hart?
How many
Let me see
games
what he
will they
go,
win?
Hart. Get at him, Hart. Look at him.
How many games will the Jazz win? Plus, we'll hear from the starters when we come back here on our Utah Jazz.
Johnny Daniel, come on. I'm setting the screen for you. Be careful, Hart. Get it. Oh. Manage Hart.